you live from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut for the last time in the year 2021. So today's video, I'm like, you know what, let me just go ahead and do a video where we go into our Philadelphia Eagles franchise. I don't know if we're going to get through the whole playoffs. I hope we don't, honestly. But every time I have a playoff game, it's freaking snowing, so lucky us, we get to deal with snow for the umpteenth time. I swear. So anyways, this is going to be exciting, so I'll see how much of this game I play. I might not play the full game. I might play, you know, only defense or only offense or something like that, but the bright side is I believe we'll be able to get Aaron Donald back after this game if we manage to get the victory here against San Francisco. But they're definitely a strong team, so it's not going to be easy. Far from it, in fact. So I do intend to put up a new a video coming up very soon, some point next week, where I'm gonna discuss the big plans I had hoped to do yesterday, but I'll take my time. I'd rather be, you know, 100% safe than sorry. Have everything written out and everything ready to go, but you'll notice a bunch of changes will start coming out very soon for the channel. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited with how things are going for the channel. The future of the channel. I don't understand why my defense is struggling to get plays, but they're just able to like run perfectly fine in the snow. It's almost like the 49ers are like wearing snowshoes and we're wearing regular shoes. Let me sim to the end of the first. Just to end of the first quarter. Yeah, see, that's what I was expecting. Garbage play. Alright, so are we... Okay, we have the ball now. Alright. So it's going to stink for me because part of how I play is I like having a mobile quarterback. And Burrow, I've upgraded him so he can run, but you can see here, we're struggling to run. We're really struggling to, like, you get out in the open and the defensive lineman's right there already, and it's like, alright, I can't even dare to try to run. So, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, I'm hoping that we can finally get past the freaking first round of the playoffs, because I'm really just getting irritated by that. And now I have this awful situation where it's like, do you dare go for it on 4th and 2? Part of me wants to. See if we can get him to jump. Alright, we're gonna wait a couple seconds. We'll try that, and then I probably will call timeout. Because I don't necessarily see a route I like outside of Lockett, but... Alright, timeout. It would have been nice, but you gotta be safe rather than sorry. You know, I'm not Doug Peterson out here. Alright, Hecker, you got this. There we go. The gunner got to him. There's a lot of positive stuff coming out. So I've been doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work these past couple days for the channel. Nothing spectacular that you're going to notice today. But I did finally get through the timestamps for the 2020 NFL Draft video. So, I mean, I've been working on that one for a while. But I'm happy to finally get through it. It's been long enough. It's been long enough. You know, I don't understand how he's able to stiff arm 2 defenders, but the second one of their defenders touches me, I go down. So weird. I really hope I can get... I really need to have Aaron Donald back, and I hope that's a holding or illegal block on the back on them. Good. Good. I love how, like, you can have the players' mics on. It's so cool when there's a penalty. You just hear them, like, freaking out. And to me, that's, like, part of Madden that I absolutely... Please tell me he dropped that. Of course he did. Cool. You know, I just love it because it makes Madden just feel more realistic. Now, obviously, it would be even more realistic if they added in some swears, but they're not going to do that because, I mean, why would you? That's just really risky, and you're not going to gain any positive feedback for that. You're going to have people saying, why would you add that? Okay, we at least forced him out. I wish we got the sack there, but you know what? I'll take the... Why do I have Tyler Lockett returning a punt? Why is my wide receiver 1 back here? What? You know what? That's Eagle stuff right there. They used to have that with Deshaun Jackson back in the day. Alright, we're going to try a run. I want to see what happens if I try a physical run here. Now, Eckler, in real life, he just came off of a reserve list. So, a lot of fantasy owners are hoping he has a good game. He's a great player. I've really just undersold him so many times. Super happy to see him back and healthy. Alright, I'm going to try just running the ball. Oh, I just juked that guy. I'm going to go out of bounds. I'm just going to keep running the ball until they tell me not to, until they show that they can stop me. I'll do a quick pass here, though, just keep them on their feet. I might honestly consider throwing to Eckler, but at the same time, you know, I don't want to use Eckler 20 plays in a row. Oh, come on, that's not who I wanted to throw to. Alright, you know what? That's fine. I hit the wrong button. I hit circle instead of triangle. Happens. It's me. I'm not the best Madden player in the world. So this, you know, what I like about Madden is it's so fun to play this. I wish I was better at it. Like, I'm in a Madden league with a friend of mine, and we have a large amount of people in that league, but I don't know any of them except him. So we have 14 people in the league. We had 15, but one guy dropped out. So it's fun, but at the same time, you know, you play a bunch of AIs, which is fine, but at the same time, it's not. Because playing AIs doesn't improve my gameplay. I did beat my first person, though, a couple weeks back. Oh, that's on me. But, I beat my first person since the PS2, so... And that would have been in person, and that would have been someone who was like 4 or 5 years younger than me. But at the same time, alright, I feel like my kicker's hurt, because I don't know why Hecker's out here doing kickoffs. I'm going to have to look at that. I'm going to look at that now, actually. No, I'll do it at halftime. I'll do it at halftime. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of concerning if that's the case. I'm just really hoping Aaron Donald comes back. We need him. We need him back. All right, I'm looking forward to this game, though. I'm enjoying it. They had one of those challenges was for me to get the shutout, and I'm like, I'm not going to get a shutout. It's not going to happen. Now, I'm very happy with how my defensive line is. I mean, if we had Aaron Donald, we'd be that much better. What I'm probably going to do is move Donald to a defensive end role once he's back, because now we have Christian Barmore, and of course we still have Vita Villa. Villa is actually a 99 overall right now, because he's boosted. So he's my best player, active player, because Donald is currently a 98 on the IR. He's originally 97, but he got boosted, because the team's morale is up, because we are in the playoffs. But it's interesting, because like my defensive morale is up, but my offensive's down because of the snow, so... The one problem I have with Madden is the fact that, like, you breathe on a quarterback and they'll throw a roughing the passer flag. Like, I've had it before where I got an INT and I returned it to the house, and then I saw the AI slammed into the quarterback, and I ended up going down. Or he like, I don't want to say he flopped, but he, like, spun around and went down, and it ended up costing me the INT. And I just remember going, seriously? And I was talking to my, oh no, did we just have an injury or something? Yep. Okay, it's not Vita Villa. It might have been Barmore. I don't know. It's not Bosa. It's not Villa. Come on. Guys. Can we not get a stop? Oh my gosh. I really wish... Okay, well, we're gonna keep him in. I'm not too concerned about that. We needed a stop there. Oh boy, they're gonna go for the field goal to tie it up. Yeah. That stinks. If that injury hadn't come up, we probably would have gotten a much better stop than we did. But, I mean, what are you gonna do? I'm not here to complain. It's Madden. There's... Oh, he missed it. Thank goodness. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is... Before we do the kickoff, I'm just gonna double check my kicking situation. Whoops, I clicked depth chart instead of... I saw Butker's name, so there's that. Let's see. Okay, cool. It seems... No, I don't think we'll have him back yet. That's really interesting. So we're out Gronk and we're out Aaron Donald, but... Weird. I'm so used to having my kicker do kickoffs. Alright, so we're going to do this drive, and then I'm probably going to sim a little bit. Because I'm hoping that we can actually get past the wildcard round, and if I'm lucky, we'll get through 2 rounds today. And that would be really cool, because then that would, ideally, in a dream world, set us up for an NFC Championship battle. And then, you know, we could try to do, like, the Championship and the Super Bowl in an ideal world on Monday. Fingers crossed. I mean, it's easier said than done to make Super Bowls and win playoff games. I also, like, one thing I love about Madden is they'll be, like, looking at their hand like it's all broken and stuff, and then you look at the medical tent and it's like, oh yeah, bruised kneecap. And I'm like, what? Let's go dive. I've had it before too, where, you know, you hold the button too long for like a half second too long, and your guy tries to do that Superman jump, super cam jump, I should say, and you end up losing the ball, and it's just... I love Eckler. I love Austin Eckler. This guy is just slaying this 49ers defense. Now, you know, watching... I've never even said this before when I've been playing in the snow, but, I still remember watching the Eagles-Lions game in Philadelphia when there was a literal blizzard. That's one of, like, my favorite moments as an Eagles fan, watching that game. I also remember you couldn't even really see the field at certain points in the game because of how heavy the snowfall was. And then they had the artificial markers and stuff. What's interesting is the next year, what ended up happening is my buddies and I, we used to play football a lot because we were, you know, juniors, seniors in high school. And we had a bunch of friends that were all in high school, so we all just kind of got together, and we actually played a game in the snow, and it was snowing lightly, but there was a ton of snow on the field already. We instantly regretted it after like the first 30 minutes, but we called it our own version of the snowball, and a lot of people were very, very cold, all things considered. I mean, I was getting chilly, and I'm like, if I'm getting cold, I know people are definitely cold. And people had, like, some of us had brought, like, hand warmers and stuff. I brought them. I had a bunch of gloves. I had double socks on. It was exciting. It was a fun game to play. It was, to me, it was like a once-in-a-lifetime type of situation where I was hoping I'd have a great day, and I did. Yeah, we gotta go for it. We gotta go for it. I was having so much fun until my feet started getting... we fumbled it, but it doesn't matter. You know, until my feet started feeling like they were gonna fall off, I was really enjoying it. And what really stunk is at that time, like, only one of us had a car. So, it's not like when we were all done, we could all just pile into the car and leave. There was only enough room in his car for 5 people, and obviously he had to be one of them to go. So we took like the smallest people, and they went in the car, and the rest of us kind of suffered. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, we enjoyed ourselves. We enjoyed that day. We really did. I mean, a couple people started complaining right away, but it was so fun. That day was one of my days I won't forget. One of those days you just won't forget in your life. the Snow Bowl, our Snow Bowl. And of course, I wore an Eagles shirt, but nobody saw it. I had my Eagles hat on. I know I showed it in my memorabilia video. I showed my Eagles hat that my buddy gave me. I wore that hat. People got a kick out of that. Oh. I want to know who's mic'd up when they're saying that kind of stuff. Like, do they have actual NFL players do it, or do they just grab like random people on the street and be like, "Hey, say this, say this"? Okay, so we're in the fourth quarter now. If I can, I hope I get a stop here. If I don't, I might just sim like. Can we get a sack for once? Thank you. Christian Barmore. I forget who I traded with to get him. Obviously, real life Minnesota, but real life and fantasy drafts are completely different. Look, I know I drafted Vita Vea. I know I drafted Aaron Donald. I'm enjoying. I like this team. I like doing these franchise drafts type of thing. They have Michael Thomas. Okay. You know, like, just so you guys know, I am still doing research on player bios and history ofs and all that good stuff. One of the ones I'm getting there with is, so we're at the end of the year, so I have no problem telling. So I have typed up 2 somewhat controversial player bios. So first one, Terrell Owens. That's going to be the NFL one. It's probably not going to be until, for a little bit at least, for when I get him out. I think I know when I'm going to put up his video. I still have to record it. So just because it's typed up doesn't mean it's done. I still have a good amount of work to do for it. The other one is a baseball player named Pete Rose. So it's always a fun one too. No controversy with Pete Rose, right? He won't be any more controversial than Black Sox Week was. But Pete Rose and Terrell Owens, of course, these are both guys who I'll give my opinion on both of them at some point during those videos, probably towards the end of the video. But it's going to be kind of tough. As for the history ofs, I only have completed and ready to go the LA Dodgers. I started the Giants, but it's going to take a little bit before I actually finish the Giants. I started another player bio, which I'm going to try to have done within the next 2 or so weeks. We'll substitute for once. I used to play football, though, every Saturday. So we'd go to school, obviously Monday through Friday, and then every Saturday we'd meet up to play football. And what ended up happening is, as a junior, we really went into it. And I'm trying to remember, it had to be one of the last games, because normally up here in the Northeast, you can kind of play more than... It depends on the year, but we were okay with playing when it was a little colder, because we were all used to it. But, the bad thing that happened was one time in my junior year, I actually hurt my back. And I kind of... So, I was kind of there, and I was kind of like a short option type of guy normally. I had good hands, but I didn't have the speed. So, I kind of took the ball, or I kind of jumped up for the ball, and I reached with my right arm, and immediately I felt something go in my back, and I fell down. And for the rest of the day, you know, it's not a good thing, but I'm a trooper. So, I played through it, and I kind of let people know, I'm like, don't hit me, but I'll continue to play. And what stinks is it was one of those things where it's like you go to the doctor and they kind of tell you, listen, these are your options. You can either A, go and have a surgery, which you don't need, or B, just kind of take pain meds and call it a day. And obviously, you don't want to go under the knife unless you absolutely have to. So I chose to go for the, just take some pain meds, Advil, and all that good stuff, and call it a day. So that's what I did. And I still get flare-ups periodically, but that was like one of the moments where I still played the the next game, but I did a very minimal thing. A very minimal play. I only played like once or twice. But I still went there. And then it was the winter, so then it started snowing and getting too cold, so we stopped playing for the winter. But I still had to tough it out. And I told people it was a herniated disc, but I never got confirmation that that was the case. So, yeah, that was fun. After that, though, I started playing a little differently, a little less aggressively, for lack of a better phrase. Like, I couldn't risk my body anymore like that. At that point, too, I decided to sign up. No, that would actually have been my senior year where I did that. So, I was just enjoying myself. I was having fun. And, I never missed a day of football until after high school. So, every weekend, every Saturday, occasionally Sundays, we'd play. It was fun. It was exciting. Until the dead of the summer, because we didn't like doing that. It was too much. Different grass fields we'd play on. One time we played on a turf, but we didn't necessarily like playing on the turf because it was a bit much. Alright, I gotta try to make the stop here. If I make the stop, we win. And they got it. Okay. It's fine. We have a 2-possession lead, but like playing on the turf was fun, but it was a bit much. Like it was a more popular turf than the okay, overthrow him. It was a more popular turf than the fields we normally played at, so we actually did have some people like watching us play. And some of us liked it, others of us did not, and I was in the group that didn't care for it. I actually didn't do bad that day, but I also didn't do great. So I wasn't a big fan of it. Like I got beat once or twice on defense, but I also beat some people on offense. And some of the people who were watching us were like really getting into it. And I'm just like, all right, like we're not here to play organized football. Like one guy was like, you guys should do defensive and offensive lines. And the way we had done it, oh, I almost got the block. The way we always played was we didn't have offensive lines. We didn't have defensive lines. We'd allow one player to go after the quarterback after a hard count of 3. Normally. So we did offensive lines once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon. And that was only when we had a ton of people. One of the guys that we actually had, we got him to start playing with us. He ended up getting a scholarship, or a partial scholarship, I should say, to play D3 football, so that was pretty cool. Another one was offered a scholarship to play D2, a partial scholarship, but he decided not to accept it. He decided to do other things, which I respect. You know, just because you got the scholarship doesn't mean you have to take it. There's better things to do. If you don't want football to be your long-term future, if you want to go and do other things, I respect that. But he only played with us one time because we were below his level. So it was cool. It was pretty fun. There's other fun stories we had. Like one time I didn't go, but a couple of my friends went to play basketball in Hartford. And they actually ran into, I forget if he was the cousin or the brother of former NFL receiver Justin Blackmon, and this was right when he had gotten drafted, so like the hype was there for Blackmon, but unfortunately nothing ever came of Justin Blackmon. So he is technically still on the roster. I think he's still on the non-football injury did not report list because he's still suspended. They haven't like officially cut ties with him, which is interesting to me, but I mean, you never know. You always gotta kind of look. You can't judge. You can't judge a book by its cover. So, where are we at for time right now? All right. You know what? I'm gonna try to do the second game here. I'm gonna probably sim a little bit more than I did this game. I just wanted to actually finally get a win for once. So, you know, it's just one of those things where I really just wanted to have a win. I've been waiting. We've been waiting long enough to get an actual win in the playoffs. So now we finally have done it. It feels so much better. Third time's the charm. So, Okay. They wanted me to pass for that many yards. No. I don't care about a rookie guard. I'm not gonna... I already upgraded him beforehand. He already had 3 upgrades ready to go, so... Alright. We have 3 lovely press conferences to have. Playoff Blizzard. Oh, thank you for playing. You played well in the Blizzard. You did good today. Good job, guys. They also were considered a hot opponent, the 49ers, and I don't like the options that they give you, where it's like, okay, well, what are your choices? Your choices are you either insult them or you diminish them, and I'm like, well, do I want to insult them and give them fire, or do I want to kind of say we're the better team? It's one of those tough things. I thought they would have showed all the scores by now. I know the Falcons beat the Seahawks. So we will be playing the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field. Interestingly enough, I don't like that matchup for us, but I mean, it is what it is. So, yeah, and like I said, Alex Mack, every year I make the playoffs. They're like, oh, this might be his last year. This might be his last year. It's like real life Jason Kelce for the Eagles every year. This might be his last year. I feel like there's an actual chance that this is his last year, though, for real. So, it's kind of brutal. I hate to say it. Like, Jason Kelce is a future Hall of Famer. But I'd like to see him and his brother, obviously Travis, make it to the Hall of Fame the same year. And Travis obviously isn't retiring. So, in order for that to happen, Jason would have to get passed on a couple times. Speaking of, actually, now that comes to mind, what I'll do here during this second game is I'm going to... So, they recently released the Pro Football Hall of Fame 2022 finalists. So, there's 15 of them. So, what I'm going to do... Let's get this... is reveal that class here and, well, the potential class here. Yeah, there you go, another playoff Blizzard. And another hot opponent one. Oh my goodness. That's my luck. And the 4 seeds one. It's too bad. I wish the Seahawks one, we would have had a matchup with the Rams, but... Wow, Rams, never mind. Maybe it's a good thing we didn't slaughter the Packers. So, what was I going to do? I know what I was going to do. I'm all over the place right now. I know I still have the other thing to do, but I want to double check this. So I have the Hall of Fame list ready to go. Yes, 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 yes. I can bring back Aaron Donald, right? No, no. You know why I can't bring back Aaron Donald? Because I put him on in the preseason. I didn't even think about that. I should have held on to him. That's a regrettable mistake. Wait, it says he's eligible to return, but it doesn't give me the option. That's so... Sometimes I don't understand Madden. Like, I don't get it. It says return. Player can return from IR. Yes. And then you click it, and there's no option for him to return. Well, we're going without Aaron Donald, I guess. That stinks. I really thought I was going to be able to bring him back. That's on me. I made the mistake. Alright, so we'll do this hot opponent thing for the second time now. Second week in a row. I don't think we're going to be able to beat the Bears. They're going to be a tough matchup. Yeah, see, insult opponent or be confident. I'll choose be confident. When I insult the opponent, it like really it makes my team morale go down. I don't like that. I'd rather just be confident. I mean, if I was a real life coach, I'd do the praise your opponent. You know, they're a great team. We love what they're doing. They're one of the better teams in the league, but we got a lot of confidence in our team. You know, we got a great locker room full of guys. So yeah, I'd say be confident. So, there's Alex Mack talking. Yes, I'm aware. We had this last game. Alright, so without having like all the straight numbers of how everyone made it and all their stats and all that good stuff. The 15, 2022 modern era players, there's some big names here. So of course you got some defensive ends, you got some offensive linemen, and you got a bunch of receivers that actually made the cut. So I'm going to go in order that the NFL Network posted them in, and I believe they have it by last name, so alphabetical by last name. So the first player is defensive end Jared Allen. I love Jared Allen as a player. You know, I always remember watching him play in the late 2000s, early 2010s with the Vikings. He was a force to be reckoned with. The problem for him is he only played 12 years in the league, but he really was a force to be reckoned with in Minnesota. He was great in Kansas City, the stats tell me. You know, I don't remember watching him play. He was pretty good in Chicago as well. And he spent 1 year in Carolina. I don't think he did much of anything there, but his numbers in Minnesota, I mean, he's up there in a lot of categories for them, and this is the team that had the Purple People Eaters in the 70s. So, I mean, this is a talented defensive group, all things considered. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if Allen makes it. I don't know if this year is going to be his year to make it. He might have to wait a little more, but I think Jared Allen will eventually make the Hall of Fame. Next, we have Willie Anderson, who's an offensive tackle who spent the majority of his career with the Cincinnati Bengals, spending his final year of his career with the Baltimore Ravens. Realistically, so offensive linemen are more difficult to kind of read and get a read on, but Willie Anderson is a guy I know he's been waiting for a little bit, but we'll get to another guy who's been waiting for a while shortly. Anderson, though, I think he'll eventually get into the Hall of Fame. I don't think you're talking today. You know, I don't think 2022 is going to be his year. I could be dead wrong on that. Oh, they have Lamar. Yikes. That changes my game plan 100%. Okay. But Willie Anderson, I like what he brings to the table. I like what he brought to the table. Okay. That was an interesting way to get rid of the football. Willie Anderson, I like what he brought to the field. But the problem is, when you play offensive tackle in the AFC North, especially at that time when I was, you know, a young kid, I only really cared about what the Eagles did. So I didn't watch AFC North football unless you played the Eagles. So, and even then, I wasn't like watching the lines and going, oh, this is great. I was watching the quarterback. Like now I watch the lines more so. Then you got Rondé Barber, who was a very talented defensive back for the Buccaneers from 97 to 2012. I'm surprised he hasn't made the Hall of Fame yet. I love Rondé Barber as a player. He killed my Eagles. You know, he killed him in the 2002 NFC Championship game. He murdered him. It wasn't even close. It was just a massacre. He himself literally gave the Buccaneers that win. And you got to give him credit for that. He did so well. And once that happened, you know, I kind of always thought that Barber was going to be a Hall of Famer after watching that game. You know, him and Tiki, his brother, I liked Tiki too, but Tiki obviously didn't play long enough, and he burned a lot of bridges on the way. He made a bunch of enemies along the way. Oh, Ertz, no. But Rondé Barber, I think he'll be in the Hall of Fame. I think this year might be his year, just because of the other players that are up there and the first-year players. So, then you got Tony Buselli. Now, Tony Buselli is a guy who only spent a handful of years in the league. He played from 95 until 2001. And I'm not counting the injury year in 2002 where he didn't play at all. But he was so dominant for that handful of years for the Jaguars that he is still on the Hall of Fame ballot here. So I think Tony Buselli has a real chance to actually make the Hall of Fame. I think it's going to come down to him v. Willie Anderson, and I don't know who's going to actually get in the Hall of the two of them. So, I mean, we'll have to see. But part of me, I mean, there's such a big push for Buselli to make the Hall of Fame right now because everyone's like, you know, oh, it's not his fault that he got hurt, which is true, it's not. But I think Buselli has a decent chance, but the problem is he didn't play long enough. So if you let him in, that opens the door for Andrew Luck in a couple years for him to make the Hall of Fame. And I'd love to see Luck in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, at some point, do you give someone a spot who only played 3 years in the league because they were great? So that's my big problem with Buselli, but I'd like to see him get in. Then you got Leroy Butler, the safety for Green Bay. He spent 12 years in Green Bay before retiring. He's been waiting for a while now. I don't know if this is his last year physically being able to be on this ballot before he'd have to get in via veteran, but I forget what they call the Veterans Committee in the NFL, but I mean, he's been waiting for some time. I think there's a legitimate chance for him to make the Hall of Fame. I just don't know if it's going to be this year. It could be. If this is his last year, he should make it over Rondé Barber. But the thing with the Hall voters is they're so weird. Like, they don't like voting the same positions to make the Hall of Fame the same year. Unless it's like you force their hand, like if Brady and Rodgers both retired after 2022, they'd kind of have to vote both of them in the Hall of Fame together. But they don't like to do that. They want to have it where it's, oh, that might be picked. Yeah, I knew that was a pick the second I threw it. Ugh. So, it's one of those weird situations like that, but I think Leroy Butler has a chance. Next, we have Devin Hester. Now, Hester, he technically was a receiver, and he spent most of his career at Chicago, but he did spend some time with other teams, including Baltimore and Atlanta. But he's not known as a receiver. He's known as a kick returner, punt returner. So Devin Hester has a really interesting case for the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's actually going to make the Hall of Fame. If he does first ballot, that would be amazing for him. But it's going to come down to, do the Hall voters actually think in voting a guy who didn't play, who only really played special teams? And that would be a lot. If they actually say, yes, we're going to give you the special teams guy in the Hall of Fame, that opens the door for some more kickers to make the Hall of Fame. So, and that would open the door too for someone like Matthew Slater. We'll have to see. Then you get the guy who's been waiting forever, Tory Holt, the wide receiver. So Tory Holt spent 10 years of his career with the Rams, including a role on The Greatest Show on Turf. And then he spent the final year of his career with the Jaguars. But Tory Holt, I think he should have been in the Hall of Fame a year or two ago. He's been waiting for too long, in my viewpoint. He was a dominant player. The problem for him, like I said, though, is they only like having, specifically with like a receiver too, they only want to have one receiver get in for a class. So that's the problem with Tory Holt. He's like great, but not great enough to make someone else wait. So it's just one of those brutal things where it's good but not good but not good enough to be first ballot type of thing, and he just keeps getting passed over by players like Andre Johnson. Andre Johnson spent his entire career in the AFC South. Most of it was, of course, with the Texans. And I think Johnson has a real chance. He's higher on a lot of the all-time record sheets than... I'm like getting there too... I'm diving too early. So, part of the problem with Andre Johnson is he didn't get a Super Bowl ring, but, I mean, who really cares about that anymore? So I think Johnson will get in over Tory Holt. Tory's going to have to wait once more. But at this point, I think he's used to it. It stinks, but what are you going to do? You can't... If you cry about it, people are going to be like, oh, you're a baby. So then you get linebacker Sam Mills. Now, admittedly, I don't know much about Sam Mills. He played in the 80s and 90s. He retired the year I was born, so I clearly don't remember him. And to, make it more interesting, he played for the Panthers the year I was born. I clearly don't watch Panthers games. There's no point in watching Panthers games, especially back then. I thought I gave the ball to the running back there. So Sam Mills, there's a chance, but then you get Richard Seymour. Seymour's an interesting player. He spent the beginning of his career with the Patriots, and he went to the Raiders. Dominant defensive lineman, because he wasn't just a DE or a D tackle, he was both. I think there's a real chance for him to make the Hall of Fame. I don't know if this is going to be his year, though. He got good sacks. He was always consistently pressuring the opposing teams. But, oh my gosh, that might be... Okay. Zach Thomas, the linebacker, he's been waiting for too long, if you want my honest opinion. Zach Thomas should have been in the Hall of Fame a year or two ago at minimum. I think Zach Thomas should get into the Hall of Fame. He'll be yet another Dolphin joining the Hall of Fame. There's so many of them that have made it. We're not going to call that a pass interference. That stinks. We're probably losing this game. Alright, let's just sim a little bit. Do next quarter. DeMarcus Ware will make the Hall of Fame. The question with DeMarcus Ware, though, is will he be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Or will he have to wait a year or two? Him versus Zach Thomas. DeMarcus Ware has more name value and name recognition. So Ware will get in over Thomas, in my opinion. Especially since, you know, there's more Cowboys fans in the world than Dolphins fans. But, I mean, hey, Zach Thomas played for the Cowboys. So, 3 more players left. Reggie Wayne's another big name receiver here on the list. Unfortunately for him, though, I think Andre Johnson has both him and Tory Holt beat. It's going to be interesting to see him versus Tory Holt, who ends up getting in first. But, I mean, oh my goodness. We're done. Alright, Joe Burrow's not doing good today. Most of it's my fault, but okay. Well, Reggie Wayne was such a dominant player for such a long time that you gotta respect what he's done. So, we'll have to see what happens with him. Part of him is going to be, you know, you always have those people who go, oh, well, you know, the X effect, the Y effect. That's the Peyton Manning effect for now Reggie Wayne. So we'll have to see what happens with Reggie Wayne. If he can actually get into the Hall of Fame, or if he has enough doubters saying, you know, Peyton Manning effect, Peyton Manning effect. We'll see. Last 2 players, Patrick Willis is the next big one. Now, I don't think he's going to make the Hall of Fame. To me, Ware and Thomas are both better than him. But it's going to be tough to see if he can actually make it. Because if Buselli makes it, then Patrick Willis's chances shoot way up. Because they both didn't play a long time in the league. And then lastly, you have Bryant Young, another San Francisco 49er. I think there's a chance for him to make the Hall of Fame. But I don't know if this is going to be his year either. Of course, I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm going to keep saying this name until he gets into the Hall of Fame. Asante Samuel, snubbed once more. Darius Slay made a big deal about that too. He literally started his press conference, I think, last week saying Asante should be in the Hall of Fame. I respect that. You know, to me, if you come into Philadelphia and you say that, you're going to get even more support. So I got to give him credit there for that one. After that, I'd like to see McNabb get in the Hall of Fame. He does have better numbers than some other players that are currently in the Hall, but at that point in time, at this point, you can always counter me and say, so you want to tell me that Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer? Video for a different day, but you know, this is going to be an interesting class. If I myself had to vote for, if I had to vote 5 of these guys into the Hall of Fame, oh, I might miss this. Nope. My class would be, it's tough. It's definitely tough. DeMarcus Ware. I'd go DeMarcus Ware, Rondé Barber, Andre Johnson. It's interesting that we don't have a quarterback. So, Barber, Johnson, Ware. At this point, I would vote in Tory Holt just to get him into the Hall of Fame. He's been waiting long enough. And I would be torn for the defensive lineman, which one I would actually want in the Hall of Fame first. I'd probably lean... Personal bias would be Jared Allen. But I'd probably go Richard Seymour over Jared Allen. Personal bias would be the other way around, but... Alright, so this is where it's going to get really fun now. This is where we have to win. Now, there were some snubs that were excluded. I already mentioned a couple of them, but other ones that didn't get the invite from the semifinalist lists include Anquan Bolden, I understand. Eddie George, still waiting his time. Robert Mathis was a talented player. Eric Allen, pretty good player. Steve Smith Sr. was considered like one of the favorites to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He didn't even make the cut from the semifinalist list. I understand why he didn't, but you know, a lot of people were saying there's a good chance that Steve Smith's going to make the Hall of Fame this year, and I did kind of buy the hype, but understandably he didn't. Another, you know, they had Devin Hester, but they decided not to have Steve Tasker. I understand. You can't have two of the pretty much similar players, especially when Hester's much better than Tasker. I understand why you went with Hester over him. Fred Taylor, the running back, once more is going to have to wait. So, Ricky Waters, going to have to wait, former Eagle. Hines Ward, I'm a big fan of Hines Ward. I'm surprised he's still waiting, but, I mean, the problem for him is you still have other guys who, I mean, you got Tory Holt, who's better, Andre Johnson, who's better. So, I mean, Hines Ward, to me, is like the receiver 5 on this list. I give him the edge over Bolden, but then you got Vince Wilfork, Darren Woodson, were the other two that didn't make it. It's kind of tough, but you can't give everyone a spot in the Hall of Fame. They're just going to have to wait a little bit.
They started on the ground with Eckler. And he's going to get a good gain of 9 here up to the 34. Good strong running.
Sorry, I muted my mic there by mistake. Alright, I'm happy I noticed that. Otherwise, I'd be kind of, like, talking for a couple seconds. And, I did say a couple things, but anyways, you know, I do have a few more video ideas for what will be coming out to start 2022. So, I'm curious, you know, I'm not going to do, like, a mock Hall of Fame ballot just because it's not for NFL. Because, I mean, I could do it, but I kind of already did it. So, as for, like, MLB, I'm probably going to try to do a mock baseball Hall of Fame ballot, because that would be kind of cool. I'd love to talk about certain players, namely Scott Rowland, some more. So, that'll be fun. And then, of course, you have the whole steroid group. And I am one of those people that may not get support for what I say, but I also have to do the most likely Hall of Famer for each baseball team. That's going to be fun. That'll probably be... We'll have to see. We'll have to see when I actually do the video for it. I'd like to say, oh, I'll wait until we get the actual... Oh, did we get the catch? I might have to watch the replay on that. But we had you know, I have a lot of types of he has the ball. It looks like it's in his hand. 1 foot's down. Oh no, that's not a catch. That's not a catch because he doesn't get the ball. His right foot's in the air. Yeah, that stinks. Challenging it would be wasting a timeout. I'd love to throw a challenge flag, but I'm not wasting the timeout in this situation. Will the Bears get their revenge for the double doink? Oh, why did he run in so fast? Alright, I gotta go for it. This snow, like, that's my big problem with this. Like, the snow makes it so much, like, next to impossible to play this game. And it irritates me so much because every single game when I have to play in the snow, it just messes with me so much. Like, I can't run the ball like I normally do. So it forces me to pass, and I can't pass the ball. But they can always run the ball like Lamar there. I can't run the ball, but Lamar can run the ball. It's just ridiculous. That's my big problem with how they always have me playing snow in the playoffs. Like, it's a cool effect to have once in a while, but to have to do it every single playoff game, it just irritates me. And you could always make the case that, oh, well, you could play in a non-East Coast, non-North team. That's fine, but I still don't like it. It's kind of ridiculous. I get really fed up with it because now I have to consistently stop this. Like, why does it only affect me? It doesn't stop them from running the ball, but it stops me from running the ball effectively. It stops me from being able to throw the ball. It stops my receivers from working. But their receivers can work. Their quarterbacks can run. It's my problem with Madden. One of my problems with Madden. Anyways, I do have other video ideas for 2022. There's baseball, there's football-themed videos. So, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. The future of the channel. Just stay tuned for that video, which should be next week. Maybe a week after. It will be like the beginning of January. It'll be the first half of January. That much I can tell you. So. Alright, we need to get pressure here. We need to get him down. We need to get him down. Nope, game over. I love that too. Like, they managed to keep their feet in perfectly fine. But if that was me, it probably would have been incomplete. Yeah, it seems like we're going to fall in the playoffs for the third year in a row. At least this time we got to win. I might have to start calling timeouts. If they don't get a first down here, I'm going to have to call a timeout. Alright, this is clutch time. We need to stand up. I mean, if I can force like a... That's game. That's game. That's game. I'm not even going to bother. Great job. We blew it once more. Come on. I don't need to watch this garbage. So annoying. I hate the snow. I hate the snow in this game. It makes my life so much more difficult, where it's like, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're making my life that much more difficult. Every time. Once in a while, fine. But every single time. I've played 4 playoff games on this channel now for this. And all 4 of them have been in the snow. And it's not fair. It's unrealistic. You don't get snow every single year during the playoffs. I don't think we've had a single snow game yet in the playoffs. I don't think we've had any snow so far this year, all things considered, excluding that one game between the Bills and the Patriots. And then there was actually another game 2 weeks ago. So, it's really just irritating me at this point. Maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe I'll be able to pull off the come from behind, get the touchdown here, and then go for 2 and convert it. That was my only good receiver that was actually open somewhat downfield. We're going to have to call a timeout. See, 50-50 balls, every other time I threw one of those, I got picked off or it went out of bounds, so. This is desperation time. 5 turnovers this game. That's just putrid. You cannot win a game with 5 turnovers. And every time we tried to get a play, you know, the ball didn't cooperate with us. Like, the way the ball bounced, I guess you could say, it always seemed to favor Chicago. Like, we had 4 interceptions and we fumbled the ball. It's just... Oh my goodness. See? They would have caught that ball. They would have held that. But my receiver, my top receiver, Tyler Lockett, drops it? No. Alright, we need to score here. This is 4 down territory, obviously. And I shouldn't have thrown that! This game is ridiculous. I hate... I really hate this game. I really hate this game. That's 100% on me, but I hate this game. I hate the snow so much. I hate the snow in this game so much. I'm just going to sim the rest of this game. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Whatever. You know what? Whatever. We'll have to see what happens next year. We'll get ourselves set up. I have to fix some problems that we have. One of the problems is me as a player, but I mean, it is what it is. Why you show me Lamar Jackson second time in that exact same position? There's your thumbnail, probably. This is so irritating, though. Joe Burrow had 5 interceptions and a fumble. And the fumble was a ridiculous one. Like, I literally had so many plays with Lamar where it was like the exact same play. He never even dropped it. He never even looked like he was close to dropping it. So, that'll essentially do it for the this video. Once more, our team got knocked out in the second round of the playoffs, which is irritating beyond belief. Come back Monday. We'll have another video Monday. I'm going to do, of course, all of the lovely off-season stuff probably right now, so you guys don't have to see that. But stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And honestly, have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of your new year. Enjoy your New Year's. Stay safe out there.